Only one game stands in the way of the Western Mustangs and a shot at the Vanier Cup. I'm Ryan Gittison of the Western Gazette.
My name is Kieran Drover.
And I'm Miles Bolton.
The Western Mustangs, Yates Cup champions, and the Laval Rouge et Or Densmore Cup champions will face in the Mitchell Bowl today, with the winner going on to the Vanier Cup. Now, these two teams have met before in both 2017 and 2018 in the Vanier Cup, with them splitting victories. At last week's Yates Cup championship, one player stood out.
Well, Ryan, we have to talk about Western running back Keon Edwards. The Mustangs played with only one half of the two-headed monster this past weekend, and Edwards was absolutely fantastic, rushing for 260 yards on 24 carries and scoring one rushing touchdown. The key to victory for the Mustangs is simple. Keep running the ball and keep doing what's worked this entire season up to this point. Edwards is one of the best, not just in the OUA, but in youth sports entirely. Just keep giving the ball to him and let him do his thing.
And of course, they didn't have Edward Lawandi, the second half of that two-headed monster in the backfield, but the other running back stepped up. Keon Yadbeck with two rushing touchdowns of his own. Everything seems to be good on the Mustangs front.
Yep, their running game is strong, and they've got everything they need to succeed again today.
But looking outside of the running backs, Kieran, Evan Hillock, not too bad himself.
Yeah, Evan Hillock coming off one of his best performances of the season, and it was against a team that he's dominated really all season long. I know he only played them twice, but 3 touchdowns last week, 3 touchdowns in their first meeting back in September, including a rushing touchdown. The problem is for Evan Hillock is that this is a team now, Laval, that he hasn't played yet. In his 2 years now as the starting quarterback for Western, he has yet to go outside of the province into Quebec to play a team like Laval or Montreal. So with Laval coming to town this week, they do boast one of the best rush defenses in the country, only allowing 87 rushing yards a game. That would be the best in the OUA by 20 yards over the Mustangs' 107. So as we talked about the running backs, Edward Winati and Keon Edwards, being, that dynamic duo out of the backfield, we could see them get shut down a little bit this week. So it allows for maybe less of that kind of play action fake downfield. And Hillock, of course, just going to have a lot more responsibility on him to be able to move the ball with his arm a lot this week.
And speaking of Laval and those 2017-2018 meetings, our very own deputy editor, Alex McComb, was on that Mustangs team way back then. Here's what he had to say.
In 2017, Western defeated Laval for our first national championship since 1994, and I got this puppy. We were poised, and we played angry because of the 2016 heartbreaker the year before in the Yates Cup. 2018 was a different story. We ended up playing Laval again for a Vanier rematch, but this time in their backyard. We did not play angry enough, and we did not play with that same fire from 2017 when we went undefeated. It's been a long 4 years since that fateful day in Quebec City, and there are still members of that roster who are still on the team today, including Dan Valente Jr., who remembers that 2018 Vanier Cup all too well. If Western doesn't come into this game with that controlled aggression like they had in 2017, it could be a long day for the boys in purple. Let's not let that happen.
But looking at these two teams, it is a bit of the tale of two different offenses. Obviously, Western with the running backs, known as running back U kind of nationwide. But Laval, it's all about the pass game. Quarterback Arnaud Desjardins is leading all of Canada with 20 passing touchdowns, and he's second in the league right now in passing yards. And then, of course, Kevin Mittal is his number one receiver, 12 receiving touchdowns on the season, and he's leading Canada in that as well. So really, the Mustangs are going to have to focus on trying to stop that pass game. And obviously, when bringing up pass, 2 players come to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mustangs are going to need their 2 defensive backfield studs to step up this week, one of which is Daniel Valente Jr. And when he was asked what he was excited for in this playoff run, he just wanted the opportunity to go out and make plays, and it's exactly what him and his partner, Robert Panabaker, have done all season long. Panabaker comes into this game with 6 interceptions, Valente Jr. with 5, and a big part of that is the defensive, game plan from Paul Gleason. Last week, it was more of a kind of off-the-ball coverage where they were kind of able to just allow things underneath and stop those big plays from happening, and then kind of just survey the field from that defensive backfield with Valente Jr., Panabaker, and even Finlay as well back there at the defensive halfback position as well. And they're going to have to. You talk about Kevin Mittal. He's one of the best playmakers in the entire
Yeah.
country. Like you said, Ryan, 58 catches for 71 receiving yards and 12 receiving touchdowns this season. So I think a big part of the defense for the Mustangs this week is just going to be to allow him to get those kind of underneath catches and then swarm to make some tackles instead of allowing him to kind of bust the coverage over the top and get the offense going downfield for Laval.
And I think an important element of that is going to be the Mustangs D-line, being able to collapse that pocket, maybe get Desjardins into maybe rushing him to throw some kind of unreliable passes to open up Hannah Baker and Valente downfield.
Absolutely.
Well, Miles, going into this game, what are the 3 keys to victory for the Mustangs?
3 words: run the ball.
You know what? I think you might be right. I think obviously the O-line's going to have to create some holes, get through that Laval defense. But I think as long as they can run the ball, that's going to open up the passing game for Hillock. And Kieran, who are 2 players we ought to look out for on either side?
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is another one of those, kind of keys to victory, as you will, is just getting to the quarterback, Desjardins. I mean, the best thing you can do against a superstar quarterback, whether it's Desjardins or, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, is just try to get him off his rhythm. And I think that one player that we would like to see maybe get a couple more plays in the backfield is Bruce Moss. He was tied for the league lead in the OUA, at least, for sacks this season with 6.5, but we haven't seen him get to the quarterback yet in the playoffs, whether that was the game against Laurier or last week against Queens. So a big part of that Mustang defense has been getting to the quarterback. And credit to them, there's been a lot of guys step up who didn't necessarily have the great sack numbers throughout the season, like Malcolm Hines, who had one against Laurier, and he was in the backfield a couple of times last week. But it'll be great to see number 95 in purple and silver get back there a couple of times this week, knock Desjardins off his rhythm, and go from there.
Signing off at Western Alumni Field, Mustangs country. Let's ride.